Charter Township of Plymouth Board of Trustees regular meeting for Tuesday, October 8th, 2024 will come to order. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Trustee Stewart. Here. Trustee Monahan is excused. Trustee Kermy.
Here.
Trustee Buckley.
Here.
Clerk Borba here. Treasurer Dorshevitz.
Here.
Supervisor Heisler.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, Pledge of Allegiance night. How about Wayne County Commissioner Terry Marecki?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner. I need a motion to approve the agenda, but before we do that, let's just carve out a few minutes for Commissioner Marecki right before public comment, just for a brief county update, Q&A. I know you've got a cheering section here that'll probably be talking during public comment, okay? So 3 minutes, 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yes, oh, yes.
So we'll do that just before.
So we'll do
comment.
that just before, yeah. Okay, so I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Supervisor.
Yes, sir.
I move for the approval of the agenda for Tuesday, October the 8th, 2024.
Made by Clerk Vorba, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Buckley. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Approval of the consent agenda. Comments, questions, concerns?
The rain, do you have a representative here?
Yes, we do.
Come up to the podium. Tell us a little bit about the rain and who your top 4 officers are.
My name is Adam Covington, and I'm the treasurer for the Plymouth Rain. Our president is Stephanie Pickerel. Our vice president is Matt Cook, and our secretary is Wanda Sands.
Okay.
Well, tell us a little bit about, are you premier? What are you doing? And
So
how's
we are-
the field doing? And,
So we are one of the last remaining local premier soccer clubs that is what I would consider pay-to-play club, if you will, throughout the state of Michigan, especially in southeast Michigan. So a lot of our other neighboring areas have been bought up by larger clubs, and Plymouth Rain has been around since I was in high school, and I'm currently 45. So it used to be the Plymouth Kicks when I was in high school, and it had eventually evolved into that. So we've been around for quite some time. We have over about 500 members within our club. We are a non-for-profit 501c3. We are just very thankful for the opportunity to use the Lake Point soccer field. We've spent a little over $60,000 over the last 2 years, improvements between replacing the goals. We top dressed and reseeded this last year. We roll it, we aerate it, we have it paid for it to be striped. And one of our board members is the liaison with the township here, and along with our folks that handle the other aspects of whether it's watering or mowing and striping and everything else that we have. So we have multiple different leagues that we are in part of. We mostly the Whistle League, which is the Western Suburban Soccer League, along with the Michigan State Premier Soccer League as well too. So we range anywhere from, I believe it's age 5 all the way up to ages 18. It's a great place for those that transition from rec soccer that want to get to a competitive travel soccer to play. I've got a daughter that's been in the club for about 4 years now. So.
what has been the success of the township investing into the drainage of the field, which was an issue 10 years ago? What's it doing now? Is it working?
So I can't speak to what it was before because I wasn't on the board at that point. But what I can tell you is that if you think about that field just from a general design standpoint, it's not the most ideal because most fields are crowned and the water drainage moves away from the field. And at Lake Point, you have a berm on one entire side of both those fields, and so naturally water wants to go towards the field. And so I would say that this last year we've had limited cancellations and limited problems with the drainage. I think a lot of that has also helped with also the top dressing and what we've been able to do with that as well too allows to continue to keep it level and flat. And I would say that we've had not as big of issues as maybe we might have had in the past.
Okay, any other questions or comments on the consent agenda? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Supervisor.
Mr. Clerk.
I move for the approval of the consent agenda for Tuesday, October the 8th, 2024.
Motion's made by Clerk Borba. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Treasurer Dorchevitz. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Supervisor Heisman.
Yes.
Treasurer Dorchevitz.
Yes.
Clerk Borba, yes. Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Trustee Kermy.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart. Yes. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. We are now going to just have Commissioner Marecki come up here, but just to kind of give us a quick update on what's going on at the county and answer any questions from board members.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me. I am not 100% prepared here. I didn't realize that you wanted an update, but I know you want a short update. So last week, we passed the budget, the 10th budget in a row that it's been balanced, and it was $2.2 billion. As far as this area, we got some more, we got the reassurance of Township Road Initiative with Supervisor Heisey and I have talked about several times that I'll probably go into a little bit more. To get the township roads done, that is the county's responsibility to get all of your roads done in the township. Of course, having 9 townships, it's a lot of money, but we're gonna start this program where we can match neighborhoods or match townships to get monies to do some of these neighborhood roads, since we are better at doing the main roads. I also was able to get $1 million into our Western Wayne County First Responders Group that services the 18 communities in the Western Wayne County. So $1 million will be going to them for different updates that they need. We also put in several programs. I'm trying to think of things that pertain right to the townships. But again, we balanced the budget every year for the last 10 years. I've been on since 2015, so.
Yeah, so a couple of things I want to thank you for is our annual parks money that we received, and that money's going again towards the rehabilitation of Gulfview Park and some of the many improvements that we're going to see there over the next 2 years, actually, because it's a 2-year contract. And then also, let's not forget the proposed sidewalk on Wilcox, connecting the Lake Point neighborhood to Hines Drive.
Yes,
That's a big
still
one
on
as
the
well.
radar.
And I know there's multi-jurisdictional issues, because what people don't know is that Plymouth Township has 2 county commissioners. So we have you representing the bulk of the township, and then we have Commissioner Daub, who used to represent the bulk of the township, who now just represents about 2 or 3 precincts right here. This is actually one of the precincts, but a couple of the precincts here, the entire city of Plymouth, and all of Canton Township. So we also receive money, parks money from her as well, but it's all proportional based on what you're covering. But definitely, let's keep an eye on that sidewalk project.
No, that's definitely on the radar with that.
Yeah, and there's so much different jurisdictional issues there on Hines Drive, because you're talking about Wayne County roads, Wayne County parks, the township, the city of Plymouth, and now apparently now we're going to be doing the city and the county are going to be doing something with Wilcox Mill. Is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wilcox Mill, this has been going on for a long time, then COVID hit.
Yeah.
So they're coming back to us for consideration of doing their due diligence again. I'm in contact with them, Richard Cox and his group, on a regular basis. They already did the Phoenix Mill. They also they will own the Newburgh Mill. After they build a new horse barn, they will get the deed to the Newburgh Mill. So that's in process. They're still very enthusiastic about doing the Wilcox Mill, which is a very big spend for one, plus it's like pretty run down, so. So that's gonna be coming. I'm the chair of the Public Services Committee and on the Ways and Means and the Health and Human Services, besides several other committees, but that will be coming to us in the next, I think, couple weeks.
Cool.
So that will be a big plus for this area.
Yeah.
So has the roads program is it concept or is it funded?
It's not funded like it should be. It's still a concept. We have hired a company that's given us kind of a preliminary advice on how to do this. They're looking at different counties, like Kent County's got a big township road initiative. So they will give us something by the spring. We thought it would be last spring, but this is on their radar. I just went to a road commission, although we don't have a road commission, meeting up in Gaylord last week, and they had a lot of information on roads in the township initiatives. So that was very helpful, and the director of DPS and the deputy director were also there to hear these.
So Terry, what you're describing though is what we had in the past.
Yes.
Which is basically a subsidy for neighborhoods that decide to do special assessment districts, okay?
Special assessments or giving
Well,
matches.
I mean, for example, like Canton, they have a road tax, okay?
Yes.
So I know the county matches a portion of that, but how it's spent is, I don't want to go down that road. But as far as the the county program, as I understand it, is a supplement to people who do SADs. And has been very successful here in the
Yeah,
past.
and I think when I first got on in 2015, it lasted for a couple years, and then it was eliminated. So it's been a while, and it's very much needed. I mean, again, the county is responsible for your neighborhood roads. So this will be a win-win, but we appreciate everybody's patience on this. And in Northville Town, I also represent Northville Township, the city of Northville, and the city of Livonia, and the townships have been very patient on this, and hopefully this will get going in the next season, road season.
So is the county considering chip sealing as a way to extend the life of asphalt roads? Many counties in the northern part of the state are doing it. It seems to work well, but I don't know if it would work here.
Yeah, there's several things you can do on township roads. There's probably 5 or 6 things. One of the problems is they last about 8 years, and I'm not sure that's going to fly. 8 years goes like that. So they're looking at all different types of ways to do this. I mean, we'd love to reconstruct everything that needed it, but that's not going to happen. It does extends life. So, and then one last thing I have too is our Register of Deeds, and I have this for people that would like it. They're doing like a fraud control of your houses, so people can't take your houses, which usually when it happens is a lot of times it's a family member. They're taking over house deeds and stuff. So this is a way that you can protect your house, just putting your email in, and if somebody tries to get into your property, you will be notified by email. So this is this program is like one of the newer things in the whole country, and we're really trying to tout this. So,
County website with it also?
yeah, this is what it is. You sign up on the county website. If somebody's trying to do anything with your property, it will notify you through email. So this might be something that people are interested in.
And just a moment, I do want to thank you and Grace for your work with helping us with some road issues. And I've noted that this past year, we've had some more activity from the county. So we're always thankful when we do get that. You were able to fix McClumpha over by our voting center, which was a real mess. So that makes it nicer for people to
Right in
be
the
able
middle
to
of the
traverse
August
that. For that.
primary.
And I just want to mention to you and Grace, I was out going door to door in Precinct 5 this past weekend, and the corner of Judson and Manton is just a real mess. It's concrete, and it almost looks like a terrace. It goes, a block, boom, 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 almost like in a step, and it's just a real mess. And the people have been asking about that for some time. So if you just got to put that on your radar, Judson and Manton, I'd really appreciate it. So thank you for a lot of the help.
Sure, and I'd like to also note that if you have any kind of road problem, pothole, drainage, and I put this in my newsletter all the time, everything has to start at 1-888 road crew on the phone with an SRN number. We can do that for you if you're not able to do that, but it all has to start there. And then if you email us and give us those numbers, we can track. And I want to introduce my assistant, Grace Modes, who many of you have probably been in contact with, because she answers my emails and keeps track of all these road issues. So it's very helpful. Everything has to go through that number. And again, we can do that. We can initiate that if you can't. But if you can and give us a number, we can follow this. But Jerry, we'll have you. You don't have to do that. We'll have yours.
Three points. One is a thank you, two is a respect, and three is a question. One, thank you for the four corners of the entrance to Lake Point at Lakewood and Crestwood, south of 5 Mile. We went back and forth for months. Florence Cement Company out in Shelby Township, Supervisor Fred Seitz. I mean, I'm hearing from Grace Modes, your assistant, people were stopping to say thank you. They were offering donuts and they were offering coffee. They are so deeply grateful. Second point, there's a distaste for partisanship at the township level. Township form of government covers over 92% of all land mass in Michigan. If you think out of Wayne County and all north, 92% of all land mass in Michigan is governed by a township form of government. So we deeply appreciate your help. And last meeting, I mentioned that Melissa Dobb, a Democrat, gave you the highest compliment, that when you know, it's kind of like lawyers who are adversaries, but they come out of it with more respect for each other because they find common ground truth. Well, she said you're the most effective sole Republican on the Wayne County Board of Commissioners.
The most effective Republican?
Yes.
That's good to know.
Now here's, you know me well, here's my challenge. You professionally, politically teased me. Is there any chance for a dedicated budget under the county for township roads? At the state level, on the state government, as a state rep, you quickly learn there's a dedicated budget for 1/3 of the whole state budget. It's called the School Aid Fund, the SAF. Is there any realistic chance, and I can't think of anyone better than you and your assistant Grace Modes, to find a dedicated budget for township services and roads?
And you're talking at the state level at this point. So, no, I do not believe there is. However, I'm also on some national boards, the National Association of Counties. They are now making a concerted effort at the federal level to get funding for townships and township roads. And they have just assigned a person to that. And in NACO, the organization makes a lot of inroads, I hate to use that words, with Congress. I mean, they're in Washington, D.C., they do a lot of work with them. So that is one of their main goals right now, is to try and push that, and I'm on the Transportation Committee, which would be a really wonderful thing if NACO was behind something like this. Because like you said, townships are huge, across the country, townships are huge. So that is something in the future that hopefully may happen, and I'm just glad to see NACO is hopping on board with this.
Thank you so much for coming here tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, and it's good seeing you all.
Barry, you've always been a pleasure to work with, and I also want to thank your colleagues at Wayne County, Assad Turfy and Andy Kondravis, and all your friends at DPS. They're doing a great job.
And thank you for saying that. You know, this is a team effort with all this. This isn't one person doing these kind of things. I mean, if I request something and they do it, it's because it's a team effort. We all work well together. Like Trustee Stewart mentioned, I am the only Republican out of 15, but it's really not partisan. It's just getting the infrastructure done, and everybody's territorial over their areas that they represent, but we're still one county. And that's been Warren Evans' one Wayne County saying for the last couple of years, but everybody works very well together. So I'm very thankful when anything is done in District 9, because everybody's working very well together. And I mean, seriously, everybody works very well together.
CEO Evans has put together a good team.
Yes, yes, yep, on the top, and we're a good commission team, and I think it works. So, thank you.
Thank you. All set? Okay. All right, so now we're going to go on to public comment. 3 minutes. I told you, I warned you. You have to shorten your acceptance speech a little bit there.
Sign in? That doesn't count with 3 minutes, does it? Okay. Okay, where's the microphone? My name is Pamela Stopper, and I have been a resident of Plymouth Township for 42 years. During that time, I have seen many changes to the township and also to the neighborhoods. I am here today to say a special thank you to a very professional, awesome, and caring group of people who not only helped me, but went out of their way to make things better for Plymouth Township. The roads were very bad in the neighborhood I live in, and I submitted a service request many times over the years to have the roads addressed. Nothing happened. This year, through all of these professional and very impressive people, the roads were not only fixed, but they were done beautifully by a team contracted by Wayne County Public Service Roads Division, who are absolutely wonderful people, and they are very professional. I have never seen a group of people work so hard to improve the neighborhood. This team was supervised by Gallup Hanuti, who is one of the best. He not only supervised the entire project, but made sure all the workers felt valued and all the residents were kept informed as to the progress. He was amazing. It was through teamwork and working together to make things happen that made a difference. I sincerely hope that this message will go forward and Plymouth Township will continue to be the best. The people that I owe all of this success to are Kurt Heisey, Supervisor, Plymouth Township.
I'll give you another 3 minutes.
Okay. Sue Brahms, Executive Assistant to Kurt. John Stewart, Trustee. Terry Marecki, who is a wonderful, wonderful person, really cares about all of us. She's County Commissioner for Wayne County. Grace Modes, her wonderful Executive Assistant, who I just have really gotten to be friends with. She's wonderful. She helped me so much. Steve Shea, the Director of Roads Maintenance Division, who was absolutely wonderful to talk to. Assad Turfi, Deputy Wayne County Executive. Javian Johnson, Community Liaison. Gallup Hanuti, Supervisor of Wayne County Roads, and all of the very professional and talented team of workers that did the manual labor to make the neighborhood beautiful, a place to be proud of to call home. Thank you from my heart to all of you.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else?
Mary Ann Adams, Ridgewood Hills, 26-year resident. I've read the dismissal for Northville Downs and then the motion to deny from the Carlo brothers. Kevin, can you tell me how long it usually takes for that to come to resolution?
That varies depending upon the court and the judge and the magistrate schedules. There's not a fixed time. I mean, there are times stated in the court, federal rules of civil procedure, but judges generally operate on their own scheduling orders.
Okay. And Jerry, I'm sorry.
There should be a hearing date. Once one is established, it will be posted on Pacer.
Okay, I check Pacer frequently, thank you. Jerry, this question is for you. I do not know, I tried to find out the requirements for a township clerk to run our elections. I was just hoping you could educate me and let me know if there are certifications, if you have those certifications.
Yes, I do.
And what are the certifications?
Well, the state puts on the program for all the clerks. Matter of fact, the deputy clerk has it, so do the people who work up front. We all take the certification class.
Okay, is there some documentation I can get that
Yeah, I
proves
can- I
that
can
you
pro-
took the
yeah,
class?
I certainly can get that to you.
Okay, all right, I'll contact you. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else at this time? Oops.
Good evening. My name is Fred Bertelli. I'm a resident of the township for 23 years. And I was very encouraged when I received Terry Arlicki's newsletter, which included local road improvements. I've been sending requests to the 888 road crew for problems that we had in our neighborhood. There has been no response whatsoever. Every year I send a request in. And it's just a matter of lack of maintenance that the road has gotten as bad as that it is now. Right now, we've got a condition where there's a very potential road that's gonna sink. It's a pothole, you know. There's a hole down there. I looked down there. You could see all the way down to the bottom, nothing but water. I don't know what's holding that slab up right now. And, you know, there's several areas there. And I've submitted pictures to your aide over there. And, you know, it's just so discouraging, so discouraging. You know, you get no result from anybody. They give you a service request number and you hear nothing from them. And, you know, it's really, really terrible because, you know, our HOA president decided he was going to take care of it himself, okay? And he hired somebody to come and, you know, do what Wayne County should have done, and it turned out to be a disaster, a disaster. And every portion that they supposedly had repaired is all popped up, and the concrete, you know, in those expansion areas is just deteriorating. All you see is gravel and holes. You know, I'm looking forward for some help from, you know, Wayne County.
Can you give us the sub or the street that you're talking about?
Heather Hills subdivision.
Okay, yes, I've been down there, yeah.
Okay.
What street?
St. Andrews coming in,
Off of
North Otero.
North
Territorial.
It's that whole entrance coming in is just a washboard ride down there. It's horrible. It's just getting worse and worse every year.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sure they'll, you know, we're all set with you guys, so if you want to meet with him out in the hallway and get the information, that'd be great. Okay, you're good. Okay, cool. All right, anybody else? Okay. So we're going to move on now. This is a public hearing pursuant to Section 147F of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 regarding the issuance of the Arizona Industrial Development Authority of several series of its revenue notes, bonds, and other obligations from time to time pursuant to a plan of financing in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $355 million. So this public hearing is pursuant to those requirements, and I'm calling the public hearing to order at 7:28. That's my
making a
motion,
motion.
and you're
Second.
going to second that, and please take the roll.
Trustee Stewart,
Yes.
trustee Kermy,
Yes.
trustee Buckley,
Yes.
clerk Vorba, yes. Treasurer Dorchevitz.
Yes.
Supervisor Heisman.
Yes.
The hearing's open.
Okay. So at this time, does anybody have any questions or comments regarding the issuance of these bonds? We talked about this at our last meeting. This is not the first time we've done this. We do have Emily Barr here tonight from Miller Canfield. They're the attorneys representing Independence Village. She's just here if needed. Hearing none, then I will make a motion to close the public hearing at 7:29.
Support.
Yep. I made the motion.
Made the motion, yeah, I did.
support,
I
okay.
supported it.
Yep.
Supervisor Heisey.
Yes.
Treasurer Dorchevitz.
Yes.
Clerk Vorba, yes. Trustee Buckley?
Yes.
Trustee Kermy?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Motion carries. The hearing is closed.
Okay, now, item F2 is the resolution approving all of that stuff that I just mentioned. If somebody wants to make a motion to that effect, would appreciate it.
Mr. Supervisor.
Mr. Clerk.
I move to approve Resolution 2024-10-08-62, approving solely for the purpose of Section 147F of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986, the issuance by the Arizona Industrial Development Authority of not to exceed $355 million senior living revenue bonds, Great Lakes Senior Living Communities, LLC.
Motion's made by Clerk Vorba. Is there a
Second.
second? Second by Trustee Kermy. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Clerk Vorba, yes. Trustee Kermy.
Yes.
Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Treasurer Dorchevitz.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Supervisor Heisler.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. You're all set.
You're all set.
I was 10 minutes off, so. Yeah. Okay, item F3 is the employment agreement for civilian operations director. That is our Cindy Fell, who is our civilian operations director. She is in charge of all of the dispatch operations and so much more here at the police station. And Chief Nitel, I see, is coming up to tell us more about what Cindy does. And just to give you a little bit of background, this is we did a similar contract with Cindy 4 years ago. This agreement is similar to what we have with Assistant Chief Kudra and Lieutenant Krebs, because these three individuals are not in the union. They are not represented by the union. And so these employment agreements track the wages and benefits of those union agreements that for the people that they oversee. This contract also includes a differential between what Cindy makes right now and what the highest paid civilian dispatcher would also be making, and that's again consistent with what we were doing for Kudra and Krebs. So, Chief, take it away.
Thank you, Supervisor. Anybody that is in or around the police department, the Plymouth Township Police Department, knows how vital Cindy is to our operation. She manages our dispatch center, 11 dispatchers. We dispatch for Plymouth Township as well as Plymouth City. She also manages the cell block area, budgets for both. Through the accreditation process, many agencies in the area have specialists or officers or civilians that are assigned just to handle accreditation. Cindy took that on top of, as well as Assistant Chief Kudra, took that responsibility on top of what she normally does. Within the last year and a half, she was moved from the rank of a civilian supervisor of all of our civilians to the director of our civilian operations. Not only does she manage the dispatch center, but she manages also everybody at our front desk, which includes our records department, our Freedom of Information Act, anything with firearms at the front desk, she manages all that as well. So I will tell you, in this being my third police agency, Cindy does it as good as anybody. She's fantastic to work with. She thinks of things that I don't think of, which makes her very, very important to me. So I refer to her as my right arm. So she's here tonight, so I know she's blushing a little bit, but yeah, she is. And I think, I don't want to speak for the supervisor, but not only the police department, but throughout this entire building, folks come to her and ask her for assistance on different projects. So
yeah, I think if I know in my experience in other cities would be somebody in Cindy's role would be along the lines of like a police captain or a police lieutenant with respect to the roles and responsibilities that she handles every day, not just for us, but also for the city of Plymouth. So remember, we do the dispatch for the city, and the city pays about a third of her salary as well. I think that's pretty fair, right, Liz? Pretty much, yep, okay.
So what's different about this contract than from her prior contract?
Not much. We're just referencing a couple other things in her contract that are already in the dispatch agreement. It is still tied to the dispatch agreement. That agreement is under consideration, under negotiations right now. And then she gets a higher base salary, which maintains the differential between her and the highest paid civilian dispatcher.
So what is the differential? What was the ending pay on the last contract? And now it's 90. What is the differential?
It's
Is
about
it
six.
Is it a percent or is it a dollar amount?
It's a dollar amount right now.
And
So
what
it's
is the
about
dollar
$6,000.
Pardon? 6,000
About
per year?
$6,000 over what she's making now, about 5,500, 6,000.
But I think you were asking the differential between the top paid
Top.
person and her.
Union person, that's what you're seeking, is a differential. The differential is between the union person and the non-union manager that we're signing the contract with. Just like with police lieutenants, it used to be 16% was the number?
15%.
All right, so what is the number here?
Yeah. The other thing I'll mention too that I did not mention is within the last year and a half, we met with Laura from HR and her job description has doubled over the last 5 years. So that was the other piece that I wanted to mention. Cindy?
Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Cindy Fell, the one they've been talking about for a couple of minutes. Just to answer your question, I think it's approximately 15%. The way that compensation is structured for our line level police service aides is what we call our dispatchers. They have a base salary and then a lot of other things that kind of get added in. So once you factor that, then yes, it's approximately 15%.
Okay, and your top pay is rising by how much per year?
6,000, I think, somewhere.
Your pay is. What are you
From
talking about?
current to what is in
The
this
old contract to the new?
Correct,
Yeah,
6,000.
about $6,000.
All right. And so why are we agreeing to sign a contract that has, this is lifetime employment? Only if you die, resign, or quit? I mean, what's the other?
There's always cost.
Retire.
So the length of the
It doesn't say,
contract,
there's no 4-year thing in here.
yeah, the length of the contract in the first
says-
paragraph mirrors the years issued for the collective bargaining agreement for the police service aides. So the years are listed in that first page. The paragraph that you're referring to is at the second page, and it does not affect how long the contract is good for. The renegotiation date is listed on 11, and it's indicating that it would be renegotiated no later than June of '29. And that's because their current contract, if ratified, would be expiring December 31st of '28.
Did a labor attorney construct this, or did we do it
This-
ourselves?
4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Yeah, this exact document exists right now. We've
But
just.
this has no way to terminate, really.
Well, yeah, there's always cause.
No, well, cause, also,
So there's-
it says this agreement terminates immediately upon retirement, resignation,
Yeah.
termination, or death of Cynthia Fell.
Yeah.
Yeah, termination, I mean, we could terminate her, and then she also has arbitration rights
No,
under the
then,
contract.
no, but I'm talking about, a contract has to have an end.
It's 4 years.
But it doesn't say
That's why
that.
we're renewing it right now.
But it doesn't say that in here.
Because it's tied to the
It's tied to the
contract.
dispatch contract.
No, it says we will renegotiate.
That's what we're
That's what
negotiating
we're
now.
doing right
Hold on,
now. It's
just
been
hold on.
4 years,
Let me
and
find
we're
the
back
spot.
again 4
Let me
years
find the
later.
section.
So I believe the formatting of the assistant chief's contract and the lieutenant's contracts that were previously approved by the board have the exact same
Yeah.
language.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean, if we made a mistake before, it doesn't mean we want to continue the mistake, is my point. I've never seen an employment contract that doesn't have an end date,
Well,
a specific end date.
This does, because it's tied to the dispatch contract, and that's why we're back here again today, 4 years later, to agree to another successor contract. It's 4 years, so.
So that's understood, is what you're saying?
Yes, it is. It's practice.
It's also past practice, and it's also tied to the dispatch contract.
When did the POAM contract expire?
The dispatch contract expires at the end of the calendar year, and we're in negotiations with them right now.
Okay, so why is there the urgency to do this now? Since it's tied directly to,
So when
The
that,
PO
when that's done, then it takes effect.
Because their contract is in negotiations right now, so it's like a reopener on her contract as well. We're reopening their contract, we're reopening hers.
yeah, I don't see the urgency of doing this today.
Okay. Any other questions from the board members?
So I just want to let people know that I'm the FOIA administrator for the township, and probably 50% of the FOIAs that come in to the township are about police and related issues. And Cindy has always done just a fantastic job.
I acknowledge that
managing it.
completely. This is not about a performance.
Well,
There's no performance review provision in here.
Don't interrupt me, I was talking.
So I understand that.
But
This-
you're
there's-
interrupting me.
All right. Oh, I thought you were done.
No, I wasn't done.
You
So-
paused.
Well, yeah, I do that once in a while. And so, just so the public knows that it's a very, very important role that she takes on and manages it very well. And so we have a lot to thank her for.
Okay, any other questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Mr. Supervisor,
Clerk.
I move to approve Resolution 2024-10-8-63, approving the employment agreement for Civilian Operations Director Cynthia Fell, effective January 1, 2025, and authorize the supervisor and clerk to sign.
Motion is made by Clerk Vorba. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Buckley. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Clerk Borba, yes. Trustee Kermy.
No.
Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Treasurer Dorchevitz.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Supervisor Heisey.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thanks, Cindy.
Thank you.
Defunding the police already.
No, come on. You're an attorney. You ought to know better about contracts.
Okay, moving on. We're going to go on to item F4. This is budget discussion about the component unit funds. So tonight, we're going to resume our discussion from the last meeting, and we'll be starting with the, what do we have here, Liz? The Brownfield Fund. Okay, so Liz is going to take control of the charts here, and then she will walk us through we're going to start with the Brownfield here, and then, well, what do you want to do?
I've got it, DDA first.
Okay, well, we're going to do what you want to do, so take us into it.
So you want to see.
I can barely hear you.
Yeah,
Barely
speak-
hear you.
Get that closer to you, please. Is it on?
Okay, it's on now.
Okay.
If you want to see my presentation, then I have to have somebody push that button on the wall to,
Any particular button? One of them?
Not the red one, not the
the
red
one
one.
that says east.
East. There we go.
So we're looking now at this, okay.
Okay.
And the board members have all this in their packets.
All right, so tonight, we're going to first talk about the DDA fund and the Brownfield Fund, and then we'll move on to water and sewer and rubbish. Okay, so for the DDA, budgeted revenues are at $709,500. And that includes property taxes, local community stabilization, share funds, revenue from the electric vehicle chargers that are out front, and we've got some interest income. Budgeted expenditures are $1,419,400. And the professional and contractual services include engineering services, planning services for any projects that happen within the boundaries of the DDA. We've got lawn care and landscaping expenses for areas within the DDA boundaries, land and building repairs, things like that. We've got intergovernmental charges. This year was the first year that we have the DDA contributing a sum of money to the general fund every year for enhanced police coverage in the DDA zone.
This year is 2024 or 2025?
2024 was the first year. Yep, so it's continuing. And then the last item in the expenditure list, is capital outlay. This is pretty sizable this year due to two projects that I'll just mention briefly here in a minute. So this fund is anticipated to use some fund balance, about $710,000 of fund balance. Quick note about the EV chargers that are out here in the parking lot. They're very popular. This is, 2025 will be the first year that they have been in operation for a full year. We do have a modest surplus budgeted for those. So the pricing structure was meant to not make a huge profit, but make enough to cover the electric bill and also supply us with a little bit of seed money for maintenance and repairs as needed.
When do you want us to interject? At the end of the page or on the item?
I prefer at the end of the page.
So you're at the end of this page?
No, not yet.
At the top.
Capital outlay, there are two projects. Hopefully Jeremy
It
can
just rolled. I
chime in
guess
a
that's
little
why I
bit.
thought it was the end of the page.
We've got a CSX sidewalk overpass project that we are planning to make a $500,000 contribution towards, and that is to be matched with federal funds. The other project that is going on is the Plymouth Walk project here next at the property adjacent to us. And there is a planned $500,000 contribution to that project as well. And that is set to be reimbursed at a point in the future by the developer.
Are you done?
Yes?
All right, so back up, please. The EV chargers. Since the DDA put $90,000 into that, I've determined that one of the reasons it's so busy is our price point is too low. So I'm recommending we raise it, our price per kilowatt hour up, so maybe we can investigate that in the future. Since the capital, it wasn't totally free, it came from the DDA. The taxpayers in there, in the DDA, those businesses paid for that. But it does help their business.
And the DDA board approved that, by the way.
Right.
As well.
But I recommend we raise the rate. The CSX overpass, when will the federal grant be awarded, or has it already been awarded?
The federal grant will be awarded at the time of obligation, which is, final plans are going in now. All that we're waiting on is a CSX permit. Once we have the CSX permit, MDOT can obligate the funds. That was as of October 1st, they can obligate the funds.
So it's coming from the state or from the federal?
It's coming from the state through the TAP program, but it's, yeah, technically federal aid money, so it's federal aid filtered through the state to the municipality, technically to the county, to the township.
So is the award coming, we get the cash first, or we have to expend the money and then seek reimbursement?
No, because it's a MDOT LAP project.
Say again, what is it?
It's an MDOT LAP project, meaning the state is going to administer it. So the state will physically be paying the money and then asking for reimbursement from the township from there.
Okay,
Based
so
on their
they'll
share.
expend the money and we will reimburse.
Correct.
That's a better deal.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So, the budgeted, sorry, I'm ahead of myself. So just a quick comparison between 2024 amended budget as it stands right now and the 2025 budget that I'm presenting to you tonight. Revenues are showing a modest increase over 2024 amended, and expenses are showing a fairly sizable increase, and that's mainly due to the capital outlay for those two projects that were just discussed. Okay, so budgeted ending fund balance for the DDA at the end of fiscal year 2025 is budgeted for $1,011,990. Okay, Brownfield. All right, we've got in the fiscal year 2025 budget, we've got $1,052,400 in revenues, made up of property taxes, a grant from Eagle for the courthouse grill site, and some interest income. And then budgeted expenditures are $1,036,900, leaving us with a small surplus. And I'll go into a couple of details.
Hold on, back up. The tax revenues to MITC, 540,000. Please explain that.
So the taxes that come into the Brownfield Fund, basically the fund is a pass-through for the taxes, and we turn around and pay those taxes to MITC to fund projects that they're working on.
Not really sure that's how it works. I think it's, Bob, you want to help out here?
Yeah, so we capture, there's, in the MITC, it's a little complex, but there's parcels that were the city of Detroit. There's parcels that were not city of Detroit, that were privately owned. There's parcels that were part of the state land bank. And so each of those three categories has a different formula to the capture. So I have a really large spreadsheet. It's a little complex. But essentially, we capture the taxes out of the MITC and route those to the MITC, not in their entirety. There's a split that goes to the state land bank, and a split that goes to the state school aid, smaller amounts, but most of it goes to the MITC. So what, specifically is the question?
Well, let me just expound on that a little bit more, because you're absolutely, everything you said is correct. And the reason why this is a pass-through to the MITC is that all of Plymouth Township is a brownfield authority. The brownfield authority covers the four corners of the township. That includes MITC. So MITC is an overlay brownfield district on top of our existing brownfield. So our brownfield collects those revenues and then has to pass that on to the MITC.
Right.
So that's the tax capture that the MITC is realizing just from our side of 5 Mile now.
Right.
So that money then is reinvested into the project for environmental cleanup, road improvements, water, sewer, and all that stuff.
So some of that is going to the Meyer site.
Yeah. Probably none of this right now because they haven't, we've approved their brownfield plan, but there's no shovel in the ground yet. They're still doing their environmental remediation. And their remediation is going to cost them, I don't have the exact number, but I want to say it's about 1.2 million out of pocket that they are going to not be reimbursed for the environmental cleanup there.
So since we're talking about Courthouse Grill, the township guaranteed $1 million loan for the Courthouse Grill. What is the status? Have they executed that loan?
So the
Or
loan
they're
is
not spending any money yet?
No. So the loan is actually about $2 million. And that is a loan that that the developer was able to get through Eagle on their own. We certainly supported it. We didn't oppose it, but it's not our money and it's not their money at this point. It's the Eagle money that is being deposited basically in our account. And am I on the right track here?
Yeah, but we backstopped the loan.
In other words, we're responsible if they default.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm trying to understand where they are in their construction.
Sure. Well, they're going to resubmit new plans. They want to do a somewhat scaled back structure. Right now, I've said this many times, I think we're in a real estate construction recession right now. Inflation is still very high in the state of Michigan, and construction costs are high, labor costs are high. And I think that we're seeing a lot of projects that are moving either very slowly or stalled, and this is certainly one of them.
Right. Well, the Wall Street Journal had an article about apartments. They said that the loans have almost completely been shut down because there's a glut of apartments in the country, and some of the loans are going bad, and so they're withdrawing and raising the requirements for loans. So a lot of projects are stalled.
Yeah. But again, this is for the environmental cleanup of the site, and it's a private deal between them and Eagle. So Okay,
All right, so comparing fiscal year 2025 budget to 2024 amended budget, there's quite a sizable increase there. Basically just due to the amended budget needs to be tweaked a little bit, which I'm gonna be bringing to you in November for that. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to that. So I'm gonna be increasing, the tax revenue figure is increased by about $396,000 over this year's budget. So that's part of the reason for the increase. And then, of course, the other part is we are getting the rest of those grant proceeds in 2025 as well. So that's $393,000. And on the expense side, the amended budget is really a little bit too low here. So that's why this increase looks so incredibly huge here. But there are grant-funded remediation expenses in here of, $440-something thousand in here. So that's definitely contributing to the increase in expenses. So fund balance is projected to be, $1,676,200 at the end of 2025, at this point in time. All right. I'll move on to the water and sewer budget. Okay, all right, so we've got budgeted revenues of $14,318,800, made up of the following categories that you see there on the slide. We've got budgeted expenditures of $15,832,200. And right now, at this point in time, this fund is expected to use some fund balance in fiscal year 2025.
So what is the huge expenditure?
he's going to get to that.
Yep, okay, so a quick recap. Water and sewer rates billed out to our customers increased 5%, effective September 1st. Just a quick reminder that Watua passed on an 11% cost increase to us. And the organization that we purchase our water from, they've also passed along a 3% rate increase. So, and of course, we've only increased the rates to our customers by 5%.
But the Watua 11% was with, that was with a contribution to the capital improvement fund that they are not collecting this year,
Okay.
right?
This year, 2024?
25,
25.
yeah.
So is that number out of whack, Bob?
It might be. We need to double check it tomorrow.
Because they are not, I know they are not doing a capital improvement this year to kind of smooth things out after the Yucca
Exactly.
snafu. So we might want to take a second look at that. That number may not be totally accurate. But again, this is a draft budget, so.
Yeah.
But that's a good catch, Bob. I think you're right. Okay, what else?
So one of the biggest items affecting revenue negatively was the Watua surcharge that was previously assessed on customers' utility bills. That was stopped effective August 1st, 2023. So in 2024, we've not had that surcharge at all. And that was quite sizable. I want to say it was in the neighborhood of perhaps $1 million.
That was to retire bonds.
Yes,
Right. Yeah.
yes.
And that was the thing that showed up on your water bill. We took that off last summer.
Yep.
$15.69 for the 5/8 bill, 5/8 diameter. Those of you that have.
Approximately.
Approximately, yeah.
It was 15.
I know.
Anyway, that's what it was. Some people may not realize it came along.
So we've got a couple of capital outlay items in this budget here this year, or for 2025. There is a new DPW pickup truck budgeted, and we have, pardon me?
White truck, and it's going to be used for DPW. Patrick, you're in the back. Why don't you come on up? Tell us what trucks are for.
Good evening. Yeah, that's just the $75,000 is to replace an existing pickup truck. It's just a Ford 250. You know, we rotate these after a while.
Special box, or is it an open?
It's an open bed. It's just a pickup truck. That's how much they cost nowadays. I think it's a 2015 or 16 model, a lot of miles, and it's the oldest, you know. It's just in our typical, we try to replace these on a staggered schedule, unlike what we did in the past, so they don't all go old and bad at the same time. We can budget them, the replacement on a staggered schedule, so this one's due for replacement.
Is it four-wheel drive?
I imagine it is, but I don't know for sure.
75 grand is the going price for a pickup truck?
That's off a state contract, yeah. Back in the day, we used to get those for 30, 40,000, not too long ago.
Are we giving the old one to Parks or what?
Yeah, we'll have to decide.
Sometimes they're not even worth passing down.
Correct.
Okay, what else, Liz?
All right. The other significant capital outlay items in this budget are $300,000 for the sprayscape redesign.
Tell us about that, that's news.
That is mandated by the state.
The state of Michigan has been doing water sampling in and around the sprayscape and has determined that the water quality is not what they want discharging into the Rouge River tributary at that site. So what they're mandating now is that we tie in the effluent from the sprayscape to our existing sewer system. So the pipe to connect the sprayscape to the existing sewer, which is roughly running down Ann Arbor Trail, is about $300,000. And really we have been battling the state now for at least a year between Patrick and Jeremy and myself. The only option really is to close the sprayscape, which I don't think anybody wants to do. It's a very popular amenity for our residents.
I want to understand this more. We're not using soap. People swim in water. This seems very bizarre.
It is very bizarre.
I don't think they've accurately done it. We need to appeal it somehow.
Well, you guys want to comment on that? I've done my job.
This came about based on the MS4 permit renewal. The township properties are mandated under our own MS4 permit. And as a part of that, they looked at the sprayscape and what was being supplied to the sprayscape. We're getting physical treated water to the sprayscape, and that contains a level of chlorine in it. The chlorine residual that's in that is greater than what's allowed in lakes and streams. And because this discharges directly to that creek, they're now saying that the residuals are too high. Therefore, we either have to detain the storm, we have to detain that water for 24 hours before discharging it, which would be a massive, massive pond, or we have to send any water that's coming out of the sprayscape to the sanitary while it's operating. That's what the line is for.
So basically, the problem is we're putting too much chlorinated water in the stream.
Yeah, the amount of chlorine that we use for our drinking water is too much for fish, is what it boils down to.
Yeah, it's safe to drink, but it's not safe for the fish. That is the logic of the state of Michigan. It's baffling to all of us, so. Well, good luck.
Well, we're under a timeline here. We have to have this installed and up and running by February 1st of next year, or we won't be able to run the spray skate.
Why does it have to be February? Their rules.
Because we have a permit issued to us. It's a public swimming pool wastewater permit that we're currently operating under. They issued us this summer, so we can at least operate it this summer while we get our ducks in order, the past summer. So in that permit, it has a deadline. Come February 1st, we're going to be under the gun for the chlorine limits, which we can't meet. So if we can't meet the limits, then they're going to shut down the operation. So we need a capital project. We need to redesign it now and apply for the permit.
Has the engineering already been completed?
No, we have something conceptual, which the estimate's $300,000. So we have to design it.
So we would redirect the water into our own sewers?
Yeah, the idea, and we have to look into it, is to divert it to the sanitary sewer while it's in operation. When it's not, you can just continue to discharge to the creek.
Some sort of sluice gate that you could, send it to the sanitary while it's in operation and then send it to the stream when it's not in operation, because you don't want to continue to send rain into the sanitary if you can help it.
And it'll be designed, constructed, and implemented during the winter?
Well, yeah, before
the February
Before
1st?
Memorial Day is when we officially open.
Before we can open it.
Yeah, but we do need to get
What part is due February 1st?
Plan.
February.
That's when our effluent limits become effective. So that's when the chlorine level limits are effective.
Start counting
Yes.
it? All right, so they accrue it over the season?
No, daily.
Yeah, okay, that's daily over.
Yeah, we have daily reporting.
Okay, so there'll be 0 on February 1st.
Yeah.
Correct. Well, I guess what I'm saying is that, February 1st is when the effluent limitations become effective. So, but we also need a reissuance of this permit. So we have to,
Oh, M4 as in mom?
MS4.
MS4.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
a
an
sanitary
NPDES
sewer,
permit, though.
stormwater,
It's an
yeah.
effluent limit permit, so.
National Stormwater.
No, it's a national pollution elimination system.
So it's EPA related?
Correct, yes.
The state has to implement the EPA rules.
So to get back, we need to have this designed and installed pretty much before Memorial Days when we start the operation. But we have to get this submitted to the state and approved even before that, which means we got to start designing it now.
Yeah, unbelievable.
So.
Okay, Liz?
Okay. The other big item in capital outlay is an $825,000 expense. I gotta leave this alone. $825,000 expense for the 5-mile sewer extension project.
So that's the sewer that runs along 5 Mile between Ridge and Napier, and that will service businesses existing and future on both sides of 5 Mile. And that's...
This is the one that Northville is administering and fronting the money, right?
No, that's the road project
that's the
between
road,
Napier,
yeah.
between Ridge and
This
back.
is under the road, well, near the road.
Yeah, it's under the road, but yeah, it's, and I asked Jeremy tonight, I've asked Patrick as well, I don't know the last time we did a sewer project in Plymouth Township. I'm saying it's been at least 20 years, probably for maybe in the M14 development zone or maybe for a subdivision, but when the project is completed, the sewer will be turned over to Wautua, as it is it'll become an asset of Wautua because it's a feeder line for 2 communities that will eventually hook up to the existing Wautua sewer line, which as we know, goes all the way south to Yucca. So it's, you know, we'll get reimbursement over time from the tap-in fees from the developers, and also just regular annual maintenance assessments and fees that Wautua will be charging, and that we charge as well as part of their water and sewer bill. But they still are doing their own water line, the developers are doing their own water lines, and all the other attendant stuff that they need to do, so that's it.
Is there any AMI smart meters in the budget?
No, not at all.
No.
Nope. Okay.
All right.
Or meters, period.
There's no money for meters at all, so you guys are gonna.
Not even replacement of meters?
No.
No.
Okay, so that'd be a budget amendment if we did that.
Yep.
Okay, so quick comparison of revenues between 2024 amended budget and 2025. You see a decrease of about $1.3 million in revenues, most of which is due to removing that Wautua surcharge. And on the expense side, we've got a decrease of about $375,000 of expenses.
Which month did you assume that the rate increase will happen in 2025?
July?
It happens, are you talking about the GLWA rating?
September.
It goes in,
I'm just wanting to know in her assumptions what
Well,
it was.
our water, when did
Two
our water?
pages back.
When do our water rates kick in? October?
yeah, we kicked them in October 1st.
I'm just trying to confirm that what Elizabeth has done, so we know what the assumption is, what month? When you back up 2 slides, please.
GLWA water rates.
Hold on, okay, go forward
Are
one.
usually announced in April
Right
or
there,
May.
it says,
Yeah, they go into effect.
revenue budget includes a
August
3% rate
What
increase
do I know?
mid-year. Is your data saying that is July 1, or is it another date? I just want to get it in my head.
For budgeting purposes, we assume a rate increase as of July.
July
Just
1.
Just for ease.
Okay, we've never done that in the past, so we'll have to
Yeah, we
make.
have.
We used to
have.
do.
They're usually always past July 1.
We used to do water budgets, though, in the summer or spring as well, and we stopped doing that a couple of years ago. And so we do all of our budgets at the same time.
I'm talking about the effective date that we would receive the revenue stream would not, most likely not happen on July 1. So
It could.
But we
There's
could,
nothing
we'll have
that says
to,
it
we'll have to
can't.
make sure it happens now that I know the date.
Yeah, it could.
GLWA announces their rates usually in April or May, and then
go
they're
into
implemented in the summer.
And they go into effect August 1st, I think. Yeah, they go into effect August 1st, and so you know, there's nothing to say that we couldn't.
Okay, so for budgeting purposes, that's
Yeah.
good.
All right.
Okay,
So budgeted ending net position for this fund would be $72,569,000 at the end of 2025.
And that's not cash.
That is not cash.
Right, that's everything.
however, I would point out, and I don't know if you're going to show this at some point, but we do have about a $20 million fund balance in water and sewer. And we've kept it very healthy over the years because things break or new projects come along, which is great. And so we want to make sure that we have the money to accomplish those tasks.
Okay.
Next slide, I guess.
All right, moving on to rubbish fund. All right, so budgeted revenues for the rubbish fund, looking to be approximately $1,721,200. Budgeted expenditures are $1,670,400. We project a small increase to their fund balance of $50,800. There's not really a lot going on with this fund.
So we are getting rid of the annual Household Hazardous Waste Day program. That program has been successful, but we are now, there are also now many more alternatives than existed even a couple years ago. Wayne County has a voucher program. People can come here anytime and get a voucher, which will cover the cost of that service, which is in Livonia. And so we really don't see the need to have our own program if the county is pretty much covering us, not only with the voucher program, but also the county does 4 household hazardous waste days scattered around the county. Typically, the closest one they have here is in Westland, and those have also been very successful. So
4 times a year.
they do it 4 times a year, yeah. So
So
it's
it's been averaging 30,000 a year at the Livonia location.
right. And that also includes, that's the money that we put into it, and then the resident also has to pay another $5
yeah.
to be part of that. The county is now offering the same service for free
Yeah.
if you come in and get a voucher.
You get a voucher here.
You get the vouchers here.
Yep.
How many
So-
vouchers did we distribute this year?
I have no idea, but I mean, we advertise it as best we can, and we get calls and people come in and get them. They have to ask them through Sarah. So we'll see what happens with that. But otherwise, it's been very duplicative in the last couple of years. So okay, well,
Do we have in the budget the 2 shred days we share with the city of Plymouth?
yes.
Yes, yes, we do.
How much is in there for those?
$2,600
Total?
for 2025, yes.
Well, it's not very much for two days, 2,600 bucks?
Well, we do one and they do one.
That city does one.
They make their money on the recyclables.
I mean, the
The vendor does, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Everything's
that's trash.
fairly consistent from year to year, but I am budgeting a very, very slight decrease in revenues of $10,000. And
Total trash.
what's that?
Rubbish.
And the expense budget as compared to 2024 amended figures is basically not much change at all, just a small increase of $9,000.
So you anticipate we do not have to increase the monthly fee per household?
Not at this time.
Well, we've also demanded that Priority Waste adhere to the terms and conditions of our current contract, which I believe we still have another 4 years with them on that contract. My caution would be to be careful what they did in Livonia, because I know in Livonia, they've now gone back to the city and have asked for the universal trash dumpsters, the
94 gallon.
The 94 gallon
Yeah.
ones, yeah, so.
There is an
just,
inflation clause in that contract, right?
Well, it increases by a certain percentage.
Yeah, a certain
every
percentage every
yeah.
year.
And I
You
think,
baked that in?
yeah, she did, but it also, it's offset by some of the stuff we're discontinuing. All right, folks, so that's rubbish.
Yep.
And you have anything else for us, Liz?
No, that's all I
Okay.
have.
All right, very good, thank you. Thank you very much, Liz and Carol, for all your help.
We appreciate it.
This has been terrific. The budget process here begins typically in late July, early August, and runs through November, and because we're not done yet. And so, thank you very much. The budget process in Plymouth Township is radically more transparent than it used to be. 8 years ago, it was when the budgets were even done, they were done behind the scenes and thrown upon the board at the last minute. And I'm proud to say that we've certainly changed the culture in that area as well. All right, board comments. Mr. Stewart. Mr. Stewart?
Wow, that was fast, but thank you. Pursuant to the invite of Trustee Kermey and myself, we were very fortunate to have the Vice President of Research and Development, Cornell Hydrogen, come speak in Plymouth. Governor Whitmer was in Oslo, Norway in May of 2023, and there was a signing and there was a photo op, and then Cranes picked up on that. The reason Nell is such a good thing. I call it a gift and a game changer. I was glad to see candidate growth there too, at the meeting that Trustee Kerming hosted of the first Vice President of Research and Development for Nell Hydrogen Fuel. That's 500 employees, and when you got a client with like, they're working with General Motors. And when they finally break ground, they said within the next 12 months. That is going to be a significant contribution to our technology base. I got a kick out of a text message I just got from the Department of Natural Resources explaining why we may see more deer. Last night, the director of Deer, Moose, and Elk gave a very apolitical. Is that a real job? Positive report on the understanding of why you're going to see a lot more deer in southeast Michigan. There's fewer hunters. And I think we, as a township, need to extend ourselves to be a little more welcoming. We've been through a very negative primary political season. So 4 weeks from tonight, we will be able to go onward and forward. And I look forward to going onward and forward. Thank you.
Yeah. Jennifer Buckley.
I have nothing.
Okay, Bob.
I'm good.
Jerry, let's give us an election update.
Yeah, just a little bit of election update. And I think I would like to preface this by saying, we've seen what's happened in the south part of our country here over the past, week or so, and then what looks like is going to happen again here this weekend. A lot of people were displaced. Lives are ruined. There's no electricity, no water. You might have tens of thousands or maybe millions of people not being able to vote because there's no place to do it. It's going to be something to see how there's any kind of remedy for those folks. So that's a caution that I want to put out there. You have an opportunity here to vote absentee starting, for 40 days, you can vote absentee ballot. You have 9 days of early voting that's available. Please take advantage and get it done now. This election's going to be in November on the 5th. We could have an ice storm. We could have electricity out. In the last election, we had 3 precincts go down with electrical problems just the night before the election, for the election. So please take advantage of the absentee voting, the early voting. Get your votes in and make sure that they're going to get counted, because something could happen. Remember 20 years ago, we had 3 days of no electricity. You could have a power outage regionally. So you hear the both parties are saying, vote early, vote early, vote. Please get your ballots, vote them, and get them back to us, and take advantage of the early voting so you don't have to stand in long lines. As of right now, we've issued about 9,400 absentee ballots, and we've got about 1,400 of them back, so about 14% are back. So if you know how you're going to vote, get them in, because what happens a lot of times, people wait till the last minute, and then we get a deluge of a couple thousand or so ballots in the last day or two, and it wreaks havoc with the staff. They're happy to do the work, but it causes a lot of long hours, and so just a caution there. We've got a good system here in Michigan. Take advantage of it and get those votes in. Thank you.
Okay, Chuck.
Jerry, how many people are you anticipating will vote early? What is your plan for early?
Well, we
planning number.
More than
Yeah,
this.
yeah, we plan for a maximum turnout.
Well, that would be 20,000.
Well, yeah, like in 20, we had 19,500.
No, I'm talking about voting early.
Oh, okay. realize.
Voting early by in-person.
Okay.
You're talking about the voting center.
It's voting center.
Sure,
That's
yeah, sure.
There's
Well,
no
That's what
history.
he's getting at.
There's almost no way to tell, but what I can tell you is something that you know of, those of us who have been in politics know this. There's thousands of people who only vote in presidential elections. They don't show up any other time. They vote in presidential elections. So you could have a large number of people, if they're going to vote, should vote AV or come to the early voting so you don't end up with a lot of people. But it's hard to tell. But you have thousands of people who vote in the presidential elections in the general that don't vote any other time.
But it's impossible to know how many are going to show up
You
because
just
we
don't
don't have
know.
any history.
We have no history. We'll have a better handle on it after this year. And then remember, this is all new. So there's still people out there that don't know that this law has changed.
What was our overall percentage in 2020? In the presidential?
And
73%?
Oh, no, it was in the low 80s.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
It was a heavy turnout.
Okay, and that was with COVID and everything? too,
Yes.
yeah. Okay, Chuck?
We're going to have a new board in about 45 days, so as a courtesy, I urge everyone not to commit to contracts that don't expire immediately. Let's let the new board make some decisions. That would be a good courtesy.
Okay. So our next meeting is November 12th, because we are not meeting due to the election. This room and virtually every room in this building is going to be turned into an election processing center, thanks to Jerry and his squad, so they're doing a great job on that. What I can guarantee right now for November 12th is that we will have our state mandated budget hearing. That's when we'll entertain any comments or questions from the public on the budget. And right now, it's just too early to say what else is going to be on that agenda. So need a motion to adjourn.
Hold on.
Yes, sir.
Jerry, what did I want? Oh, the schedule for meetings for next year.
That will be on the November 12th
I
agenda.
urge you to wait until we have a new board so that new board can get their schedules inputted.
Okay.
You'll be so busy anyway, you won't have to worry about it.
I just want
One
to
less thing
cover,
to worry
I just
about.
want to cover my bottom and make sure that we give that out. You can table it on the 12th, which I would, probably is where you're headed with that, so.
Or just
Okay.
postpone it. All right,
Well-
if you want to do the work and do a proposal, that's fine.
We've already done the work. I mean, so, anyway. Okay, needs a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Jerry, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Buckley. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.